Hello.
Can you hear me? Hi, can you see me? Can you hear me?
Yes, perfectly. Let me just adjust myself. How are you?
I'm good. I just can't get the light straight, but it's all right, I guess. Can you see me?
Yes, actually, it's
I
good.
can never figure out these lights. Is it good?
Reach above the screen. Yeah, same thing here.
I'm short. I'm short. Let's see.
But I had to put something below my phone. You can't see my setup, but I have an interesting setup as well.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Can you see this?
You look good.
Yeah? I feel like it's dark, but what can I do? It's okay.
On my screen, it looks good. Maybe it's the brightness.
Is it okay?
Yeah.
Well, what can we do?
Both. We're
This
getting
is
comments.
this
Both
is
are look.
court.
We're getting comments. So they're saying we both look great, and we look great.
How do you like my pigtails today?
Yeah.
Pocahontas look.
Like
Well,
read
my
like because we're talking about toxic relationships and the passions. I was like, let's just have a look a little bit. I'm gonna.
I like it.
We have already 30 people on, so welcome everyone. Welcome to the Go Beyond Chapter 7 or Episode 7. We're here again with Dr. Dinka, licensed psychologist living in Kuwait. And today we're going to go beyond a very interesting topic that is toxic relationships and self-esteem. So thank you so much for joining and sharing your wisdom and your knowledge.
Sorry. My things are always falling. Wait. Today I'm having a thing with my phone. Okay, wait. All right. I'm not moving. This is toxic phone. That's our next episode.
I was gonna make the joke, yeah. So no, like I can't wait. I was very excited all day for this interview and the whole week, honestly, and we have very limited time. So if we only have 1 hour and we both talk a lot. So if you want to, I just go ahead. What we start with the topic and then we see what people ask and other things. Good.
Oh, yes. I love talking about toxic relationships just because I think every one of us have either met someone that's toxic or been with someone that's toxic, or we might be toxic ourselves. So I feel like it's a topic that is very, very important. And I think a lot of people might be in toxic relationships or they're toxic people themselves and they don't even know it, just because it's the way they've been so long. So, it's good to bring awareness to it, definitely.
Yeah, that was actually, I have a bonus question. You just mentioned. Good, we're going to go with the bonus question. So the first question I wanted to bring awareness to is, what are the major signs for toxic relationships?
Well, I wrote them down because it's important to know what type of toxic people are there. And I think that if we know the type of toxic people there are, that maybe we can be able to identify them if we're with them or if it's one of us or whatever. So I wrote them down just because my memory has been like a fish. So just in case I forget them. But there are probably, I have 6 here. There are probably other types out there, but these are the 6 that I'm more familiar with and people that I see often, signs here maybe, and all the individuals that I work with. For example, a person that plays victim. Now, a person that plays victim, sometimes we feel sorry for ourselves and we like to have a pity party. But these individuals, they're constantly playing victim. They're constantly making you feel guilty. Because they're pouting and they can never get out of this the victim mode, and you always feel like you have to take care of them somehow. The person that is catering to this victimization, you feel guilty that if you don't take care of them, you feel sorry for them. And so so that's one of them. The second one is the emotional abuse. Probably we're very familiar with these individuals where they emotionally abuse you. They blame you for things. They call you names. They belittle you. They make you feel that you're nothing, and they're putting you down, criticizing you. And so these are emotional abusers. And they go along with the physical abuse, but really toxic relationships, a lot of it is more emotional abuse, not more physical abuse. Because of their physical abuse, of course they're toxic, but they're more part of the domestic violence. And so, and then we have the pathological liars, which we probably all know about them. And these are people, they'll lie about anything and everything. They're either lying because they want your sympathy, or they lie about, themselves, or they're constantly lying either to hook you in and to, make you feel bad, or because they're trying to put the blame on you and make you feel bad. The fourth one is control. Someone that always wants to control you, wants to tell you what to do. They have an ability to make you feel that you can make decisions, and somehow emotionally controlling what you do. They're not very supportive of you. So even decision, job, anything, at home, what they want is they want you to become dependent on them. And that's why they're trying to control you, because they're worried that you're going to leave them. So the more they control you emotionally, control you physically, then the more they are they're guaranteeing that you can't leave them. And I'm sure relationships where the person becomes dependent. I remember this case where somebody said to me, I wasn't like this. I was very independent. I made my own decisions. I worked, and I don't know what happened in this relationship. I don't even go to the grocery store. I don't know how to go to the bank anymore. And I don't even know I work, and I don't know where my money goes. So in a way, that would be a form of control. Let's see. Don't respect boundaries. That's another thing. It's like they don't respect boundaries, these people. Now, this you see, I'm sure, if it's not with your partner, it's with your friends. These individuals, they don't understand that no means no. They don't understand that this is my boundary. Don't come. Somehow they impose themselves. Somehow they are in your business. They don't understand boundaries. Again, it could be like a form of control, or it could be that they feel that they're very special, and they don't understand why you have to impose these no, yes, I can do this, I can't do that. They can't handle that situation. And the fifth, that they are the last one, negative people. So negative people are people, I know that if it's not your partner, it's someone you worked with. I mean, I know I've worked with my share of people where you're in a meeting and you're feeling good, and suddenly this person, everything is wrong with the company, everything is wrong with him or her, everything is wrong with you, everything is wrong in the world. So they're constantly feeling down, they're negative, they don't see anything positive. So those negative people are also, you see them a lot, and definitely you see them in your friends or in your colleagues, if not in your partner. So if these are the things so I'm going to repeat them for people to hear them, because I know a lot of my students are joining because they want. So they either play victim, they're emotional abuse, pathological liars, control, don't respect boundaries, and negative people. So these are individuals. If you have any of these characteristics, or someone that has these characteristics, you might want to think about the relationship you have with these individuals, and what does it look like. I mean, here I even hear it with people, with friends, for example, friendship, where someone's saying, my friend, she doesn't understand boundaries. If I told her I can't go out with her, she gets upset. People are very sensitive. So therefore, you see that's poor boundary, right? They control you. They're constantly telling you what to do. They want to make decisions for you. Just because you've asked for help, suddenly you don't know how to make any decisions. And so, on and on. So these are part of what is a toxic person look like.
Either that or a mix of everything. I can make one.
Yeah.
All the skills.
Oh, yeah. That's true. And I see a combination of that. Playing victim, oh my God, I see so much of those people constantly victimizing themselves. Poor me. She left me. She did this. He did this to me. I'm such a nice person. People take advantage of me. And, it's a choice. And people don't understand that it's a choice to be a victim or not to be a victim. Yes.
Yeah. Right away. Great.
Yes.
That was great. Then we go number 2. Who will you refer the victims to?
Well, the first thing you need to understand is that, of course, we're talking about how this relates to self-esteem. So can you imagine if I am with someone that is an emotional abuser and emotionally abusing me, and even when I'm doing good in my career, they're putting me down. They're saying you're ugly, you're stupid, you don't really know how to do this. So can you imagine what that does to my self-esteem? So to be able to refer them, obviously these individuals need psychotherapy. They need to go to a therapist, somebody outside, to be able to validate, you know, all of these labels I've heard about. And parents can be toxic, by the way. So we're not just talking about relationship. Could be friends, they could be parents, they could be partners, they could be, you know, so anybody we're in relationship with, it depends on what relationship, they could be toxic. So you get this person who's saying, all my life my parents have said that I'm stupid, I don't know how to make decisions, you know, all my decisions are wrong, maybe because they've made few decisions. So they've taken these labels and they've integrated it as part of their personality, and now they're saying, yeah, maybe my parents were right, maybe I'm not really the smartest one, or maybe this. And so what you do, you have to refer them, you know, these individuals have to realize that they really need help, and they need to see a psychologist, or you know, someone that is able to recognize this toxicity. Because like I said, if you come from a relationship that's toxic, which are your parents, then you are in a relationship with your friends who are toxic, you marry or be with someone that is toxic, you're never going to know that this is wrong until you realize something is wrong with this picture. You know, I'm not feeling good about this, this is not healthy for me. And then once you recognize that, then of course we have to go to you know, a therapist will be help, a psychologist, just someone that is going to finally put you and recognize these signs that, look, this doesn't look healthy to me.
So, like, you know how they say in psychology that when someone has been abused, they have a high percentage of being an abuser. Is it the same way you are when you were grow up in a toxic relationship? Do you actually have more tendency to be toxic as well?
Yes, of course, of course. So, for example, let's say you grew up in a toxic relationship where your mom was a victimizer and always victimized herself because she's worried that her dad, the husband, was going to leave her, right? So you can always grow up to become a victimizer yourself, where you victimize, you get attention from people. So the mom got attention from dad, and that's how she kept her marriage. And so the girl grows up and believes that maybe, you know, she starts adapting those habits of, like, you know, feeling sorry for her self, feeling helpless, hopeless, and then she attracts someone actually that is going to feed into that victimizing behavior, and therefore it's a cycle. So she realizes she's not good enough to be able to keep the relationship because of who she is, but that she is, you know, keeping the relationship because he feels sorry for me. I mean, and you know, these victimizers, the idea is that when they get sick, my God, it's the world is over. When, you know, something happens to them that probably happens, like there's a lot now, you know, victimizing themselves about this COVID-19. Oh my God, you know, walking around with a feeling, you know, sorry for themselves, not being able to get out of bed, not being able to like motivate themselves to do something, can't work out because the person around them, somebody is feeding into it. So it's either their kids are feeding into the mom, or the husband's feeding into that because she knows he doesn't want to stay with her, but he's staying because he feels sorry for her. So then what happens to that girl? She thinks this is the way to keep a relationship. Unconsciously, a lot of times this happens because that's what you grew up to see, you know? So,
Yeah.
of course. Yes, yes. I mean, where do you think these toxic people come from? They're brought from toxic families. Of course, they're like, it's not genetic. It's the idea is that, so if you come from an abusive family home, yeah,
Mm.
the abusive family home, if you came from someone that belittled you, for example, beat you, emotionally abused you, for example, what's going to happen to your self-esteem? Obviously, you're not going to feel good about yourself. And therefore, what happens is that you attract someone that will feed into that toxicity, and therefore, you know, then the cycle continues because, you know, what else do you know until you go to therapy and really work on yourself and realize. And nowadays it's like, you know, back in the days for my parents or grandparents, they didn't get educated, we didn't have google.com, and so, but now we see a lot, we read a lot, and we're realizing that you know, we read stories and we read things on Google and think about, well, my relationship looks like this, something must be wrong. You know what, the more we educate ourselves to what is healthy relationship, then we know that we're not in a healthy relationship. And the more we respect ourselves, the more I love myself, the more I know I could have better, the more I will feel strong enough to be able to get out of the relationship. But if you don't have these components, you don't feel good about yourself, you're overweight, you hate yourself, he's constantly telling you you're fat, you're ugly, no one wants you. What are you going to do? And you feel, you feel sorry for yourself, and you feel like the only reason to keep him is to feed into something that he's controlling, right? Or her.
Yeah,
I mean, it doesn't have to be a male, it could be a female.
to stay in the environment that you know. Yeah.
Yeah, yes, it's true. It's true.
So how can we prevent a toxic relationship from happening?
I think the way to really prevent it, I think, is by recognizing it. I'm really big about recognizing toxic relationships. I'm big on understanding, is this healthy or not? Now, sometimes, to be fair, there are people that have come from good homes, respectable parents, and they end up, I just had somebody like that the other day. And because normally we think, okay, well, you must have seen really bad things to be attracting a toxic person, like, substance abuser, for example. And then I realized it's like, she didn't really come. The family might have had problems. I don't know. But the idea is that things looked healthy to her. They're communicated, the parents respected each other, but she still went into a really toxic relationship. And don't forget, drugs and alcohol are toxic people who are going to control you, is going to make you feel bad, to make you dependent. So the idea is that, so sometimes you could have come from a good home, but maybe the environment or the school or some sort of a trauma or some sort of bullying at school, or somehow you didn't feel respected, you didn't like yourself, and so you end up attracting someone that is, I mean, the other times that you have to think about it, like, if I don't feel good about myself, then I need someone to need me. And even the person who's toxic, I mean, what is their problem? Their problem is lack of self-esteem, right? They feel that they are not good enough to be loved. So they exercise these, either control or being negative or social or emotionally abusing you, be able to control you, to keep you. So both people, he's toxic and he's worried and he doesn't have enough self-esteem. He doesn't have enough confidence, and he puts it out on the partner because he is also afraid that he is going to be left. So he's dependent on this relationship, and then she ends up becoming, the person that has to take all this toxic energy because she feels that she can't do any better, or because she has already got into this, like, control, the lies that makes you give you hope that, maybe he's not that bad, maybe he is. We start questioning ourselves. So I feel like people that have good confidence, people that are educated, people that are love themselves, people that value themselves, have good, good confident. They don't, they'll get into a toxic relationship. It's true. I mean, it's not like, none of us have, but we're smart enough to know, oh, something is wrong here. We can pick up the cues faster. While people that so toxic relationship from their parents, they don't feel good about themselves and they feel like no one's going to love them. They find this person who says they love them, but in a very weird, negative way. And so they stay in the relationship longer versus someone, like myself. I definitely can pick it up. I mean, at first I might feed into it, but then I realize something doesn't feel right. I can see the cue. I can have that sense that I'm not feeling good about this. But sometimes people don't. And, I think we all have had people in our life, friends, relatives, a relationship. I have my share of people that, negative people, for example. Oh my God, they suck the energy out of you. They drain you,
Vampires.
huh?
Vampires,
Yeah.
the energetic vampires.
Yes, that's right. And so for a while you accept it, and then you realize, wow, this person is really, I mean, I'm sure you've had friends where they're like nice people and you really love your friend, but every time they see you, once you finish, you're drained,
Yeah. I
and
have
you're,
had so many like intense relationships. That's why, to me, it's a big topic, because I think we all experience the more or the less this kind of relationship, honestly. But this,
of
I one,
course. And like I
one,
said, I mean, a lot of times people think that it's a relationship between husband and wife, or, these relationships, they're even more toxic with our friends, because
yeah,
they are our friends. We love them. We think that they mean well to us. They've been there, on times we need them. So we feel bad, like we feel bad, eliminating them from our circle, or we feel bad because they really are trying and they've been our friends for so long that we really think they're good people, until we realize, no, this person might be a good person, but he's not good for me right now. And people got to understand that there are people that come into my life not to stay forever. We got to accept this. Everyone thinks that everyone that comes into my life, they got to stay. And then we feel sad and grief when these people leave us. Got to understand that people come in for a short period of time sometimes, and they do whatever they need to do, and they leave. And if they leave, it might be a good thing. We got to understand that. So can't hold on to these type of relationships.
Yeah, some of my friends hate me for that, because the way I see a lot of relationships, I try to see them as lessons. So from every person, there is something that I learn from them, and I try to see the bright side, of course. So sometimes they tell me, oh, so when a relationship ends, I'm just going to be another lesson on your life, but like, come on, we have to stay in the positive thing at the same time. There's always some kind of consciousness that each relationship brings into your life. And this opens me. I saw your other show on TV talking about toxic relationships, and I really wanted to ask you, like, do you think people change?
People can change if they want to change, right? If I don't want to change, then of course. So I mean, I've seen a lot of people change. Obviously, I'm a psychologist, and this is what we do for a living, right? We change people. So I feel like, but people can change unless they're ready. It's the same thing as people that have substance abuse problem, right? These individuals are never going to change, because that's why they go to rehab 10 times, 12 times, and they come back and relapse. And people are like, well, because of relapse is easy. It's true, but also because these people, maybe they've gone to rehab, but they didn't really accept the idea that they had a problem. And their problem is not really substance abuse. That's the confusing thing. Substance abuse is actually the solution. The problem is something deeper, and that's what they have to understand. So can people change? Of course. I've changed, you've changed, we've worked on ourselves. Change requires a lot of work, which I think people don't want to work. If you really want, and also with toxic relationships, we have to be ready to leave. So when you're talking about married people, and she's telling you that he's emotionally abusive and he's controlling and he puts me down, and he is negative and walks around and just everything he says is negative, you got to make sure, you have to understand that you can't change if you're still with this person. So what you need to do is to let this person know, look, you are doing all these things, they are not healthy for me. Now, they might be healthy for you, but this is not healthy for me. It is bringing me down. It is causing me, stress, even physical stress, psychological stress. It is deteriorating for me, and I can't really live in this relationship. So you either work on it, and we work on it together, or the person has to be ready to leave, even if they separate for 30 days, where they can just, say to themselves, separate, say, I'm going to leave now until you're ready to make a change. So they got to accept that they have a problem. Even a wife, I mean, it's not just the husband. The husband can feel like she's draining, she's constantly negative, she victimizes, and he can say to her, look, I can't live under these conditions. I love you, but I need you to change. Now, what is she going to say? Well, I don't think there's any problem with me. Then obviously there's nothing you can do, to be honest. What can you do for someone that's saying there's nothing wrong with me? So now I have to make two decisions. Do I want to accept that and continue living the way I live, where it's going to deteriorate me and I'll have a lot of other medical problems besides psychological? Or should I leave and let him understand what it feels like to be without me, and then have him work on himself these 30 days, go to counseling, go to couple counseling, something gotta go. But a lot of people are complaining about toxic relationships, but they're not ready to do that step. And if you're not, then that's not worth it, to be honest. You can't really make someone change.
I posted the other day, you can solve a problem from the same mindset that it was created from Einstein. So it's kind of like what you were saying, like you have to change the mindset. And also in Spain, we say, eres lo que toleras, which means you are
Oh.
what you tolerate. I know you speak little
Mm-hmm.
Spanish. So,
I used to
but
speak a lot more. I miss I miss Barcelona.
from, yeah, I miss it too.
Are you
But
from
yeah,
Barcelona?
see.
Yeah, yes,
So
okay. Uh,
tolerate exactly what you say. Whatever we tolerate, it's what we're doing. So it's a lot of personal growth and self-esteem, which is topics that we've been pushing a lot this week. Then the thing is, where
mm-hmm.
do toxic relationships evolve from?
Where these toxic relationships evolve from? I think it
No,
evolved from a lot of, toxic relationships evolve from the type of patterns that people have from their background. Even if their background was fine, but they met a friend in school who was a bad negative influence on them, and had a lot of peer pressure, controlled them. I mean, you hear a lot of young people, for example, teenagers saying, I had this friend and she really controlled me. She made decisions for me. She wouldn't allow me to have certain friends. She got mad if I was changed friendship. She always told me what to do. And so the idea is that it could also evolve from that type of friendship when we were in middle school, elementary school. Personality also. Like if you're a follower, you've never really made any decisions. So if you have a difficult time making decisions, your personality is more dependent. If you are passive, so all of these kind of characteristics can also attract individual to get into a relationship that's toxic. So if you don't make any decision, and every time something happened to you, you seek someone who's already toxic and he starts making all the decision for you, and he tells you do this, do that. At first it feels good because you feel like this person is like, he's nice. You have somebody like support you, give you guidance like a dad, right? But then later on, you realize that, he gets mad if you take a decision on your own. Suddenly, everything has to be filtered through him. Even decisions, financial, career decisions, raising your kids. And so I feel like these individuals kind of attract this negativity and this toxic. And at first, like I said, they like it. They're like, oh, like people are like very jealous, and you know oh no, it's because he loves me, that's why he's jealous. They don't understand that that is emotional abuse. They don't understand that's control, right? No, but he loves me, doctor. It's nice to be in a relationship where he cares about me, and he follows me, or he asks me, or he checks my Instagram. No, it's not nice. That's not healthy relationship. Do you know what I think, Patricia, is the problem is people don't really know what is positive relationship. They don't know what it is. So
questions like we need to know, and it's one of the first bases to do. So it's two questions ahead.
I
Because
think
I'm
I think
go ahead.
you know what I think that people, if you haven't seen a positive relationship, so you're not going to know. But even if you've seen it but been in so many other negative relationships, then you are going to think that that is the norm. So first of all, obviously it's the norm if I grew up like that and all my friends were like that, and but then being positive, like it requires exactly.
Love has hurt so many people. Yeah.
Yes. So to ask someone, is this positive? They really think they've turned it so much and they've changed it into their mind to make it look like it's positive. Like I said, if someone is jealous and they're obsessed about me and they're like following me or asking me questions all the time, where did you go? Where did you come? Who are your friends? No, you can't go with this friend. You can go with this. No, you can't make phone calls. Let me check your phone. Give me your, if they
Give me your
are give me.
your phone code, and there are certain things that are healthy limits,
Mm,
and it's not
mm.
considered, I think, lack of trust. It's just the trust is not to ask for those things. I think once people ask for those kind of things, you just like lose you lose, it loses like the trust in the relationship. Like if you
Of
have to go
course.
to the checking the phone and all of that, like to me, if someone asks me to check my phone, it's already, I have no issue here, check it, but after that it's done.
because they
because
have
it's
to
tough.
trust.
Yeah.
But they have to exactly. So what is a positive relationship? They trust you.
Go
It's built
ahead,
on.
but it's a toxic relationship because it's one of my
I mean,
questions.
one
Help-
healthy relationships.
Let's take
Let me
time
hold on.
into
I'm gonna off. Can you hear me?
perfectly.
Okay, because this thing is not good either.
And
So it's time to shop. Can you hear me better?
yeah, no, it's good. It's good both ways.
Oh, so healthy relationships is like it's built on respect, right? It's built
Mm-hmm.
on trust. It's built on the idea that people are mutual and they're equal. So he supports me, she supports his career, he supports her decision making. It's not about who controls the decision making, is that we control the decision making together. It's about communication, it's about respecting this person and respecting that they've got something to offer a relationship, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a relationship that you feel that this person makes me feel good about myself, right? He helps me develop my self-esteem. He's not saying you're fat and you're ugly and that's it. He's saying you want to work out, I'll help you, right? You want to, and instead of putting you down and telling you that no, 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 I don't like women who are fat, you got to lose weight, that's toxic. The positive thing would be, yes, you have gained weight, especially if you just had babies, no problem, I don't care. But if you want for you, let's work out. Let's go to the gym together, for example. See, there's a difference in statement, right? He probably is a health fit. She was, and then gained weight after a baby. But then now he's mocking her because she's gained weight instead of helping her develop the skills to motivate her to be able to go to work out or
Yeah,
to watch the instead of saying don't eat too much, you're eating too much, that is going to affect you or you're going to be fat again, or people can like say different things, for example, like I I feel like let's do it together. To say, same thing I said last time when I was with you about even how do we make the kids lose weight? Let's walk together. Let's eat these things together. So when you are in a positive relationship or healthy relationship, you can feel that the person really cares about you and your opinion. They don't use negative comments. They respect your decision. They feel that it's like, so it's not built on self-centeredness or, toxic, draining energy. It's not built on like dominance. It's
yeah.
built on this mutuality of this idea that this when you're with this person there's a special feeling that makes you feel that you're important. So when you're gone and you're with your friends, they give you a call not because they're worried about who you're with, but because I'm just checking up on you, are you okay? Whenever you come home, give me a call. That's not toxic. But toxic
That's not.
is give me a call. it's
Yeah,
like it's like saying to you, take a picture. I had a client, she can't go anywhere unless she takes a picture to show her husband what she was wearing. Seriously? Like, why is that? It's like, because he needs to make sure he approves of my. Now, I mean, people can do whatever they want. It's not my job to say, but for me, I wouldn't allow that. But if he wants to see it once in a while because he wants to give me a compliment, again, that's a different story. If you are, I'm calling you because I just got to work because you're worried about me, being on the highway or the street or whatever it is, I understand. But for me to sit on the phone the whole time because you're worried that when I'm not with you, I'm calling somebody else, then you don't trust me. And a relationship that doesn't have a trust, then it's not worth it in my mind,
yeah,
you know?
yeah. Base.
So,
It's the
so,
base.
so the idea is that what do you do when you can recognize it? The sad thing about it is like sometimes you recognize it, but you still love the person, you've got kids, and you feel like I can't leave him because of all the circumstances, financial, cultural, whatever. And so, but if this person, even if they don't leave the person, but once you start working on yourself and redeveloping your self-esteem, you've lost weight, you love
Mm.
you automatically are going to leave him anyways because it's incongruent. I work out, I feel good about myself, I come home, I'm positive, and you're not going to be able to put up with this person who's negative or who's constantly putting you down and not supporting you. You yourself, you're going to get to a point yourself that realize I can't, my energy doesn't allow it, my values won't allow it. And therefore, people are going to seek therapy ultimately because they realize this is not for me. You know, I know that I love him, but love is not enough sometimes when you're living with someone that's making you feel that they love you, but they're not really loving you, they're controlling you, right? They are putting
they
you
say
down.
fall in love, you always fall in love with your what would be the word in English? Like your abuser. You fall
Yes,
in love with the abuser and then you don't know how to live without them.
it's true. And that's toxic. See, that's a toxic relationship. If I can't live without him, if I want him to be part of my life because he compliments me, see, that's another thing. But when you are saying, I can't live without him, then you've created dependency already.
I can live without you. Who sings that song? The music also has done a lot of pain into the love world, you know. I can live if living it without you.
Yeah, I can't.
Yeah, yeah,
It's true. I mean, if I can't live without him, I
yeah.
mean,
Singer. Every I don't know, so many songs come to my head. Like
it's
it's
true.
just
It's true.
music. It does a lot of pain, you know. It's and in Spain we say cortavenas, but a lot of the songs is like I can't live without you, and then that songs are
Yeah,
toxic. That's
that's
not
true.
love. Yeah, careful
Yes,
with the music you do.
so that's our next show.
Don't
It's how the
brain.
next show will be is how we create these parasocial relationships with these superstars and artists and music because we're living through these music thinking that this is a healthy thing and it's not healthy. I can't live without you. I mean, I can't live without your support. I can't live without you complimenting me, your support me. I can understand, but I I don't know. I don't think it's healthy to create any sort of a dependency with anyone, to be honest.
No,
No.
you have to be dependent and with yourself. And once
Mm-hmm.
you have that, you can create something healthy, of course. So then, what do you think are the most dangerous aspects of the toxic relationship? Like the thing we should be more concerned about?
Do you know what I think? I think it's the most dangerous thing about it is that we lose our sense of self.
Mm,
Um,
good.
it creates depression. It can create panic attacks and anxiety. Your health deteriorates if you don't get diabetes and high blood pressure or heart attack or your bones and aches and all of these signs. If so, the really the dangerous thing about it is if you don't recognize you're in a toxic relationship, you will deteriorate, not the person. Now, remember, the
Yeah.
person is already getting, he's toxic and he's already getting what he needs to feed into his toxicity. It's fine. So they're not going to be the one that's going to have cancer because they're stressed for so long and they haven't been able to defend themselves. They haven't stand up for themselves. So therefore, they eat more. People in toxic relationships also have a high risk of being obese because they're emotional eaters. Because he yells at her and he says, "You're fat, fat." So she goes to the kitchen and has some more sugar, right? Or he tells her that you are nothing without me. Then she feeds in more to, feeling depressed and and really believing these labels. That's the scary part of it, is that you lose your sense of self. Now, if that's okay with people and they don't mind I lose my sense of self, then that's up to you. But for me, life is too short and I want to be able to be happy. Even if I have to be alone, I will do it
It's never
because,
too.
and it's never too late, but because I love myself enough to realize I can have something better, or even forget about having somebody better. I know that I can live in tranquil, peaceful life. Do you know what I mean? Like, do you know when you're in a toxic relationship, you're anxious all the time, you're
Yeah.
worried all the time. And so when you are away from that relationship, you're more tranquil, you have more
For you,
peace. Yes, because the only person you have to worry about is me. And I can work on myself and I can start liking myself. But people that attract toxic people are people that probably have a lot of weight problem when they're young, so they don't love themselves, or they have a lot of self-esteem issues, or they've had depression genetically and they were depressed. So they want someone to love them. And as you can see, the things I gave
And
you, the types of them, all of these people will make you feel that you're loved, you know. So if you were with a victimizer who, if you gave them attention enough and cater to their victimizing, what do? They love you back, right? And
yeah,
so the idea is that a friend, for example, they make you feel that you need them, and you feed into that because you need to be needed. So we cannot blame the person who is toxic. We also have to blame ourselves because we've allowed and we've made a choice to be in a relationship because they're feeding something also to us. They're giving us, they're not giving us stability, because positive relationship gives us stability. They give us a pseudo stability. They make you feel that you are safe and you're not. They make you feel that no one is going to love you like I love you. No one is going to, care about you. So when they feed you these things, you you take a decision. It's a decision. If you really need someone to love you, then that's the problem to begin with. That is the problem. But if I can be, everyone needs to be with someone. I mean, we were born to be with people. I mean, God
yeah.
created us to be with, but I don't,
We're
huh?
we're social animals.
We are, and social psychology says that a lot, and we are, and we were born to be. That's why some people are having a hard time right now with the quarantine. I need to be with people, but I don't need them to fulfill a need. I need them to complement a need. There's a difference,
Yeah, a
right?
lot of people we're getting a lot of comments related that sometimes is that not only the friends that are toxic or your partner, that the family is the most toxic one and they can't leave their family. How they should react with something
Yes,
you
they
can
can.
get away.
No, you don't. I mean, leaving a family is not, doesn't mean that I'm going to, like, can't divorce a family, obviously. I can minimize how much time I'm with this family, you know? I don't have to be with the family all the time, or I have to set boundaries. I mean, nowadays, more and more people are learning boundaries. We got to give them the credit. And they are realizing that, okay, so grandma is negative. I don't have to see grandma. Actually, nowadays, people are, but if you're living with toxic people, I need to minimize how much. And don't forget that once I start to feel good about myself and I love myself, it's easy to filter the toxic. See, the problem is that if you still don't love yourself and you're doubting yourself and you don't feel safe, it's hard to filter. But we are
Mm,
all living with toxic people. If it's not my family or my colleagues, believe me. And if it's not my colleagues, are my friends. But the idea is that, maybe it's not necessary to be able to let them, get rid of them, because sometimes it's hard, but I know I can filter. I don't
yeah,
have to internalize their toxic energy anymore. I can listen to
yeah,
it, but inside of me, I have to reassure myself that this has nothing to do with me. This is coming from them, not me. It's called projection. And we got to understand that, okay, this person is a victim. For example, why do we feed into victimizers? A lot of victimizers are family, actually. They'll come in, a lot of my clients will come and say, my mom, she's just like all the time, poor me, grandma, or whatever. All of those people I live with, they're constantly saying, poor me, poor me. And I have to say that, okay, you don't have to feed into that, right? I mean, they want to talk about it. I think we need to set boundaries. We need to listen a little bit, but then we need to, like, let go of it. We cannot just continue that, because that's how the victimizers became victimizers. We fed into it, not I, every family member. And they need to really understand that this is not actually something that I need to do anymore. And so the more we stop feeding into it, I think the more we can get people to stop. Maybe they'll get another thing, but at least they'll minimize their victimizing.
and how much power we give into them in order to affect their emotions. That's another thing. Because even
Yeah.
in my family, I can have toxic people and I'm fine. They can say, imagine when I got into fitness, oh, you look like a man, you're too big, you're too tough.
Yeah.
Okay, you're fine. never told you. And I'm not going to tell you because I'm educated. But like, how much do you let that affect you? How sure are you about yourself? And if I was me, like there's all these people that is asking, honestly, I'd be so proud that I'm conscious that I'm detecting a toxic relationship. I'm setting a boundary. I'm stopping that to go into my head. And I'm just feeling compassion for that person that can't see anything farther than that because their mindset, their culture, the level of consciousness is not in my level of consciousness. And it's good. Just be happy that you can see farther than that. And if they want help, you can help them. If not, you're just going to get yourself away as much as you can and feel compassion. Don't get
Of course.
affected. Don't get...
Look, I mean, I have family members the same way, or, and the idea is
Yeah.
that they think that I'm a psychologist, I'm supposed to, and they don't, the promise is that a lot of these people don't really see how much they're affecting you. So I still love them. I don't talk to them as much, but I just listen. I don't respond. I don't feed in. I say what I need to say. And sometimes I give opinions and I can understand if this person is ready to hear. Like I'll say, well, that doesn't sound right. Like, well, I feel like it's this. I do give my opinions now. While before for family members, I was like, oh, I better not say anything. This person is sensitive. This person will get mad. I don't do that anymore. I do say that this is not, I don't like when you say this, or I defend against it, but I don't get into a match anymore. Like before, I would get into a match trying to convince them what I am feeling. And then I realized it doesn't work because these people
Yeah.
have been the way they are for a long time and they're not going to change for me. People have to be ready to change. And if they're not, so that's it. I see a
Yeah,
lot of people writing stuff.
Yeah, they say that in order to shut down toxicity, instead of responding, the thing is, I don't know how you see it. Like the way I see it, instead of react, I think it's better to give your opinion with assertiveness, like being assertive,
Yes.
just giving your without hurting the other person. You don't want to pay with the same coin because you don't want to go into that level. But you can always say, "Don't mess with me. This is what I think, and this is done." Don't go deeper. Don't try to hurt with the same thing. Yeah, passive aggressive harms us more. Yeah, exactly. You don't want to be the
Exactly. And I
passive.
think we have to also realize that there are certain topics we just can't talk about it with certain people. So that's it.
Yeah,
For me, I realized, okay, well, I don't agree with that, but let's not talk about that because they're good at other things. So if I have a friend who's controlling, I don't allow them to control me. I make my own decision, and if they don't like it, after a while, anyways, these toxic friends, they're not there because remember they're feeding into you, so they have a need to control, and I'm feeding into that. But once I start feeding to that, they go into somebody else. And
yeah.
so
Exactly.
because it's a need, right? So
Yeah, yeah,
it's like something they need. So once I stop giving it to them, you know that they're gonna have to go somewhere else.
yeah.
And when they go to
And they
somewhere else,
stop giving
that's it.
free
That's
toxicity.
exactly. And I mean, with family, we can't get rid of them. But like I said, with friends, I mean, well, I don't understand why people a lot of times think that they can't. I've known her for 10 years. I've known her for 20 years. Yeah, okay. But
Right.
right now, I, for me, I feel like right now, this is where I am, right? And right now, where I am, and the level of self love and the confidence I have, I should be protective of it. I've worked so hard to be this way. Why would I want to allow a friend who's been there 10 years, who fed me what I needed at that time, the toxic energy? But now I have to be protective of who I am, the hard work, the confidence, where I've achieved in my career. I mean, you get these friends that are constantly negative. Well, it's not like that. And you'll see people are like that. And, they give you these things like, okay, well, I'll deal with that when it comes. Why would I want to be able to allow that negative energy to affect what I was planning to do anyways?
Yeah.
So if you care about yourself, and if you know that I've worked so hard to lose this weight, it's the same thing as losing weight. Once you lose weight, it doesn't mean that you can't be with people that are overweight, but I will not allow people to be with me and decide that I have to eat certain things, or come on, let's just have this because they want to eat bad. So, okay, I don't mind. It's not like I'm going to stop going with people that are bad eaters. or unhealthy people, because they're good in other ways, but once they start to impose that to me, or when they start saying, oh, Juliet, you care about your look so much, suddenly that's a put down, suddenly that's bad. And what I do is that, yes, I do. I don't, it's important to me. My health is important to me. I don't mind. I don't mind you eating this. So we have to be assertive enough to be able to say these comments. And I feel like people are not assertive enough because we're people pleasers. And so if you're a people pleaser, that means you have to be ready to be in a toxic relationship.
Yeah.
But if you're someone who knows what they want and they know their values, I have a goal, then you got to get the support system that you need to get you to that goal, right? And that's, that's what I think, anyways.
Yeah, it is
Maybe some
completely
people.
true. No, they're all more or less agreeing with us. They're just launching new questions. But like, how do we let go toxic relationships then?
Yeah, it's hard, if you've been with a toxic person, they've drained you, they've sucked you into a, so you have to really, to be honest, you got to cut loose. No matter how much it hurts, and no matter how much, it's important to cut the relationship. You have to
From
detox yourself from these individuals.
yeah,
Yeah, and
from the
and you have to be ready. I mean, like, for example, if it's the only friend you have, it might be difficult. But if I create other relationships, for example, and I can have a different type of circle, I don't have to cut them, but I don't have to be with them that often. Now, it's the most difficult is when you're married to someone who's toxic, or when you're in a relationship with someone, because you're so used to. I mean, I have this person who's been with this person for 8 years. He knows it's toxic. She's toxic. I've told him it's toxic. It's obvious. But, the idea is here, you feel like, okay, 8 years of my life I've been with this person. So, you got to understand, what are you valuing? Are you valuing the years you've been with this person? Are you valuing that when you marry this person? Because you're just going to get divorced. And, the type of therapist I am, I'm straight in your face kind of girl. Because I feel like I have to be honest. And I'm like, okay, so you're married and you'll get divorced. So whatever. I mean, I can't tell
because
you what to do, but
what are
to
you
me,
waiting
I feel.
for? Yeah,
But what are you waiting for? It's because
yeah,
8 years. No, because it's 8 years. It's hard to start a new relationship with someone that's gonna get to know you. Start new is very difficult. So the idea is that she's comfortable. She's
yeah,
toxic, but she's comfortable. So you think about it and you feel like, okay, so it's hard work, Patricia. It's hard work.
yeah, yeah.
People
I
need
know.
to understand.
I
So
experienced
if
myself had some kind of toxic relationship in our lives, more or
we
less. Yeah,
I mean, and it's painful. But remember, like, toxic people suck you in, so it's
yeah.
hard to, cut, and it's
Because you
hard to,
cold. You're in another world. You can't see, and then suddenly everything falls down, and you can't
of
see, and
course.
you're like,
But
"Ah, I did this."
yes, do you know what you need to do first, though? You need to go
Yeah,
to therapy.
steps. Give us the steps, Doctor Dinka.
Yeah, so it's not that easy. It's not like, especially in marriage or family members.
Mm,
It's not that easy. Like, okay, you're toxic. I just heard, live is the. I heard Dr. Dinka saying you're toxic. Khalas, let's go. It doesn't work that way. Okay? Because remember, I been in a toxic relationship, which means that I am hurting. I'm not confident. I don't feel safe. I am lost. So it means that the first step is you have to get help to be able to work on yourself, to be strong enough to be able to tell this person, I don't need you. But
yeah,
until we get to that step, it's not that easy to tell my friend, look, you can't control me. It takes a lot of self work. We got to work on ourselves. It takes a lot of self exploration. And once I get to that level where I feel confident and I feel like I don't need this person, then I come and confront them. But it's not
yeah,
really easy when this is the only thing I know. And I am, strength comes from eating right, exercising. working on myself. If I take some classes online that teaches you how to love yourself, or go to a psychologist, or talk to someone, once you have reached that level of self understanding, then you're ready to walk. But until then, you're not going to be able to walk away. And I know a lot of people have walked away without doing the self exploration. And
And they
you
go,
need, they go, of course they go back.
"Ooh,
it's like, yep,
they feel
because
that in life, they put the same lesson again."
of course, because it's like being with, yes, an alcoholic, right? It's
Yeah.
like it's it's like being with someone that uses substance abuse. What do? They you leave them. I love you. I need you. I can't live without you. They give you all these nice words. They suck you in again, right?
If I
Because you're
hear
a victim.
that, I can live without you.
I can't. I can't live with that.
That's
So, but remember that relationship, or these people
yeah,
have lived like this for so long. So, and then she's also feeling bad for him. There's some sort of an emotional connection. So she goes back in, right? It's the same thing with the
yeah.
domestic violence. I mean, why does, I remember when I was in college, I worked in a domestic violence shelter. And I remember I was like, I was working on my master's, so in my 20s, and I don't know, I just started to gain knowledge. So there was this person, I worked so hard with her, and at that time, even my supervisor said, we work with them, but you got to be ready. They leave and they come back. Be ready. I'm like, no, no, no. This woman, I worked with her. I have a program for her. I helped her find a job. We found an apartment. She had a little girl. I did so much. So the next day, a week later, I go back to work. I'm looking for this person. I'm looking for her. Where is she? And my supervisor says, she went back to him. I said, what? How could she? I was so angry. She's like, because Juliet, this is what happens. You work with them, they get a phone call from him where he's telling her all the right things. I'll never hurt you. I love you. You know I love you, and we want to be family. He feeds her all the things she needs that she's hungry for, right? And from then, I realized that I work hard with them, but I can't have an expectation they won't go back, because they will, until she's ready and strong enough. Back, and
We
then I
have
learned.
2 minutes remaining. The time goes so fast with you.
Oh my God. Oh.
Uh, um,
Any questions I haven't answered?
the last question is, why do you think people get attached in toxic relationship, and what's the relationship with self-esteem? Which I think we talk about it. So I think it's more time to say goodbye. If anybody has further questions, you have Dr. Dinka Instagram. You have her social media here. If it's YouTube, you have it in the bottom. Click. You have here an amazing psychologist in Kuwait. I think it's a topic that most of the people I met here in all around the world, honestly, suffers at least once in their life. And don't take it for yourself. You need to talk. It helps so much to talk. Even myself in my life, I have different coaches in my life that help me to see things in different perspectives. And it's necessary someone to open your eyes. So what better than to have professionals? So thank you so much for your wisdom and
So,
knowledge.
but Patricia, I want to tell you, I am so happy because you're a bodybuilder and you're so much into health. And a lot of times, not that I say that these people don't care about psychology, but it's so rare to find somebody like you who, instead of sitting there and just talking about bodybuilding and nutrition, which is important, but that
Yeah.
you value mental health. I am so happy that I've met you, because you
I mean,
really are attracted to these topics that I didn't think a bodybuilder would be interested in, to be
I
honest. So
like to
thank
call wellness coaching. I realize that without the emotions, it's
you. Yeah,
just body, soul, and the body just follows. So 10
yeah.
last seconds. Thank you so much for
Be
everyone.
safe, people, and happy Eid for people that are gonna have Eid. Happy Eid.
3, 2, 1.
Bye.